Once upon a time, in a town humming with the rhythm of life, lived a boy named Eli. For Eli, the world wasn't a place of stillness, but a grand stage 4 movement. He didn't just walk, he bounced on the balls of his feet. His steps, a light, happy drumbeat on the cobblestones. He saw music in the sway of willow branches, a dance in the scuttling of autumn leaves chased by the wind. His world was a symphony of motion, from the bustling market where vendors' hands flew in a flurry of trade, to the quiet riverbank where water bugs skated in intricate patterns. Eli's greatest joy was feeling the world move with him, his body a willing partner in its endless, vibrant dance. The sun on his face was a warm hand guiding him, the wind at his back a playful push forward. He was a creature of pure, unadulterated motion, and his heart beat in time with the lively pulse of the world around him. Then, one day, the music stopped. An accident. A cruel, sharp note of discord silenced the dance. Eli's legs, once so full of life, were now still and silent beneath his blanket. The world outside his window continued its waltz, but Eli was no longer a part of it. Days bled into weeks, weeks into months of gray stillness. His room became a prison, the bed his chains. Despair was a cold, heavy fog that settled deep in his bones, chilling him more than any winter wind. He watched dust motes dance in the slivers of sunlight, tiny ghosts of the movement he had lost. Hope, once his constant companion, had become a distant stranger. His vibrant world had shrunk to the 4 walls of his room, his symphony reduced to the hollow echo of his own quiet sighs. He was adrift in an ocean of silence, longing for a single step, a single note of his former life. One night, unable to bear the suffocating quiet any longer, he pulled himself to his open window, his arms trembling with the effort. The night air was sharp and cold, carrying the distant rumble of the city. Below, on the dark, damp pavement, something caught the moonlight. A pair of shoes. They weren't new, but they weren't old either. They were crafted from leather the color of rich earth, and they seemed to hum with a light all their own. A strange impulse, the first flicker of anything other than despair he'd felt in months, seized him. He had to have them. With agonizing slowness, he lowered himself out the window, his body a dead weight. The cold of the pavement shocked his skin, but as his fingers brushed against the leather of the shoes, a surprising warmth spread through his hand, a gentle, living heat that felt like a whispered promise. He slipped his numb feet into them. They fit perfectly, molding to him as if they were made just for him. And then he stood, trembling, unsteady, but standing. He took a step, then another. It wasn't a walk, it was a miracle. The shoes changed everything. Eli wasn't just walking, he was dancing again. His feet, guided by an unseen force, moved with a grace and power he'd never known. He found himself in the city square, and as he began to move, a crowd gathered. His dance was breathtaking leaps that defied gravity, spins that blurred into a whirlwind of motion. Coins rained down at his feet, tossed by smiling, astonished faces. He danced for hours, his body tireless, his heart soaring. But when he returned to his small room and took the shoes off, the familiar cold and stillness crept back in. His legs were just as useless as before. A new kind of fear began to bloom in his heart, a fear of silence, a fear of being without the shoes. He started talking to them, whispering his secrets and his gratitude into the worn leather. They were his saviors, his partners, his most precious secret. His life became a stark contrast. The dazzling, celebrated dancer in the square, and the quiet, helpless boy alone in his room, clutching his magic. One night, as he slept with the shoes beside his pillow, he dreamed. He was in a vast, empty ballroom, and before him danced a figure made of moonlight and shadow. The spirit's dance was one of passion and fire, each movement telling a story of a life lived for the art of motion. But there was a sadness in his every step, a deep regret. The shoes on Eli's feet in the dream grew heavy, like blocks of stone. The spirit turned to him, his voice a rustle of dry leaves. He explained that he had been a dancer, one who had sacrificed everything for perfection, family, love, life itself, only to have his legs fail him at his peak. In his bitterness, his spirit became bound to the shoes, a vessel for his unspent passion. He had waited for a soul who understood the agony of stillness, who yearned for movement as he had. He chose Eli not as a gift, but to feel the thrill of the dance one last time through Eli's feet. The dream left Eli with a profound unease. The magic felt less like a gift and more like a borrowing. The spirit's words lingered, and soon Eli felt a change. The magic in the shoes began to fade. During a performance, in the middle of a complex spin, his ankle buckled. He stumbled, catching himself just before he fell. The crowd gasped. Panic, cold and sharp, pierced through him. It happened again a few days later, a falter in a leap that almost sent him sprawling. The effortless grace was becoming a struggle. The shoes felt weaker, their warmth dimming. That night, the spirit appeared in his dream again, his form more transparent than before. "My energy is fading," the spirit whispered. "Soon the dance will end." Eli looked at his own legs in the dream, phantom limbs that felt weak but were, for the first time, his own. "Then I will have to learn to walk by myself," Eli said, his voice quiet but firm. "Thank you for letting me dance again, but my own steps, however small, must be my own." A faint, sad smile touched the spirit's lips. The test wasn't about the shoes. It was about what Eli would do when the magic was gone. The day came when the shoes were just shoes. The warmth was gone. The magic had vanished. Eli put them on, and his legs remained unresponsive. But the despair from before was gone, replaced by a quiet, steady resolve. The memory of the dance, the feeling of movement, was now a fire inside him. He began the grueling process of recovery. The first attempts were agonizing failures. His muscles, atrophied and weak, screamed in protest. He fell again and again. But each time he fell, he remembered the spirit's passionate dance and the joy of his own. He held onto railings, furniture, anything to support him as he forced his legs to remember. It was not a beautiful dance. It was clumsy, painful, and drenched in sweat and frustration. His steps were shuffled, uneven and slow, but they were his. Every trembling step was a victory, a note in a new song he was composing himself. Years passed. Eli never danced in the square again. He walked with a limp a permanent reminder of his journey. But there was a strength in his gait that had never been there before, not even in his most graceful days. He became a teacher, not of dance, but of resilience. He would show children how to find strength in their own bodies, how to appreciate the simple, honest miracle of putting one foot in front of the other. Sometimes he would take the old leather shoes from their box. They were just ordinary shoes now, but he would hold them and feel a sense of profound gratitude. The miracle wasn't the magic that had allowed him to fly. The true miracle was the fall that taught him how to stand up on his own. It was the discovery that the most powerful magic wasn't in a pair of shoes, but in the unyielding strength of the human spirit to take that first, difficult, imperfect step all by itself. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe for more.